We begin with Nigeria's emerging top political opposition, the African Democratic Congress, ADC, and its direct criticism of Nigeria's governing party, the APC, over worsening insecurity, while moving to close ranks and roll out plans for nationwide congresses and the national convention, just like the governing party has just done. Now, the party criticized the government where it is most vulnerable. That is the area of insecurity, saying that not much attention is being paid to tackling the several killings across the country. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has dismissed the claims by the ADC and other parties that Nigeria is drifting towards a one-party state, insisting that a strong and credible opposition remains essential for democratic growth. Speaking at the APC National Convention in Abuja on Friday night, the president denied the accusation, saying that Nigeria's democracy currently has a healthy political competition. And as the countdown to the commencement of the 2027 general elections cycle nears, with next month's deadline for submission of political parties' membership registers and the May 30th deadline for party primaries and resolution of disputes, the African Democratic Congress has accused influential figures within the governing All Progressives Congress of plotting to have President Bola Tinubu as the only contender in the 2027 general presidential election, across political parties. Ahead of the election season, the ADC itself has announced congresses to begin April 7, and it has set its national convention on April 14. The party says it is putting its own house in order to provide Nigerians a credible alternative to the governing APC and other political parties. So what's the ADC set to do differently if elected into power? Well, joining me right now throughout the whole hour is the National Publicity Secretary of the African Democratic Congress, Malam Bolaji Abdullahi. He's a former Minister of Youth Development and Sports in Nigeria under former President Goodluck Jonathan. He was also the National Publicity Secretary of the governing All Progressives Congress between 2016 and 2018, and is the author of On a Platter of Gold, How Jonathan Won and Lost Nigeria. Drawing on his experience as a journalist, governor's aide, commissioner, and minister, Mr. Abdullahi recently launched another book titled The Loyalist in January 2026. And I'm so glad to have you join me right here on the program. Mr. Bolaji Abdullahi, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Samna. Always a pleasure to see you.
Yeah, and so how do you first of all react to the National Convention of the APC, the first under President Bola Tinubu, which the APC has said it looks like the most organized, the best, and other political parties like yours actually need to learn from the APC in terms of political organization, in terms of reaching consensus on issues, and ensuring that conventions are held within a healthy atmosphere that, there's no dissent.
Well, it's quite interesting. Listening and watching the APC convention and listening to the president. Of course, they naturally expect APC to continue to celebrate their convention in superlative terms and continue to award themselves medals, even though they are competing against themselves. You shouldn't expect any dissent because you have President Bola Tinubu who decides who gets what within the party. I listened to the House of Representatives Speaker begging President Bola Tinubu to allow them to come back. And I felt sorry for them because
that's like seeking automatic tickets.
Seeking automatic tickets for parliamentarians. So what that means is that the mandate of the House of elected representatives of the people is no longer renewable by the people. They no longer need the people that they were supposed to represent to decide whether they have served them well and they deserve to go back. Now they need President Bola Tinubu sitting in Abuja to decide who among them will get the ticket and who will not. And talking about us learning something from what they are doing, if you take power out of APC is actually nothing. I know that party very well. And post Bola Tinubu, they will unravel so quickly that even they will be surprised. So there's nothing to learn. It's the glue of power that is holding them
looks
together.
Like an SPV?
It's an SPV because ask an average APC official, party leader, what the party stands for, governor, House of Rep. Ask them, what does APC really stand for? They don't know because it's really nothing. So it's a special purpose vehicle designed to make the late President Muhammadu Buhari president, and the other person, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and it has served its purpose. You know, so we don't have.
So you mean after the CPC faction has had its own term,
now the ACN
has
faction,
had its own term?
Absolutely.
So the PDP, ABGA, and others, or ANPP that came up, I mean, that's the end.
That's the end. That's the end. Well,
that can only happen if maybe ADC or PDP or any other party actually defeats the APC. I mean, what if it then goes ahead to still be the governing party in power?
It's quite unlikely. It's quite unlikely because...
You don't think APC will win any election in the country again?
No, you see, let me tell you, one thing that is clear to us is this. Any free and fair election in this country today, there is no way APC will win. I will ask you a question, and it doesn't add up. How can a party that has 33 or 34 governors?
31 at the moment.
31 at the moment?
Yes.
Yeah, let's even say, 31 governors. And almost 90-something% of the National Assembly. Why are they still panicking? Why are they still trying to destabilize all other opposition parties? I mean, they should be preparing for the coronation of President Bola Tinubu ordinarily, given their overwhelming dominance. But you can see they are unsettled because they know that a free and fair election, there is no way they can win. Nigerians are tired of them. And that is why for us as the opposition party, we are very clear what our responsibilities are, to prove to Nigerians that we truly offer alternative and we represent alternative. But the jury has settled on APC's performance, and it is very clear they have failed, and Nigerians can't wait to see the back of them.
Well, did you hear all the testimonies at the convention by party members in government who were saying in electricity, we've done this, in agriculture, we've done this, youth development, we've done this, and all of that. So are you telling Nigerians that, I mean, those talks were just...
So now I'll give you a quick example. As I speak to you, Aso Rock Villa has been taken out of the national grid. Which president takes his own accommodation out of the national grid and throw the rest of the country in darkness?
Well,
so I mean, they can continue to lie to themselves. They can continue to deceive themselves. And I feel sorry sometimes. I feel sorry for President Bola Tinubu. Maybe he's not really getting the real picture of what is going on, and that's why he keeps saying things are getting better. It's actually getting worse, you know. And I'll give you another example. Before President Bola Tinubu came in May 2023, Nigeria ranked 7th in the Global Terrorism Index. The last one released about 2 weeks ago, Nigeria is now number 4, right? So, and all the other countries apart from Pakistan and West Africa's region, that can be explained. But it's actually getting worse. And yesterday, StatiSense released another report saying that within 1 month, up till yesterday, 735 Nigerians have been killed by insurgents within 1 month.
And that included soldiers and all of that.
Yes, and that is one Nigerian every 1 hour. One Nigerian every 1 hour is the worst insurgency casualty on earth. So what are they telling us? And you see, if they don't have the humility to admit that what they are doing is wrong, that it is not working, how can they even begin to solve it? If they are caught in this self-celebration, how do we even hope that when they come back, they will embrace a different approach? And that's why we are saying, no, we can't continue like this.
What's the alternative that ADC is providing? I mean, because you would have heard the president saying yesterday, let me specifically say this in reaction to the idea of one-party state that you all have been accusing him. He said, let me reiterate, especially to those who often lament and misunderstand us, we do not seek a one-party state. Did you hear him very clearly? For those who often lament and misunderstand us, what if the president actually says you are misunderstanding some of the things his government is doing in power?
We are not understanding anything. We are not misunderstanding anything. It's the president that needs to understand that Nigerians are actually suffering, that more Nigerians are suffering today than ever before. Look, these figures I'm giving you are not manufactured by the African Democratic Congress. These are publicly available data. And I'm telling you that, okay, I'll give you another example. The president said, we are misunderstanding what they are doing and we don't understand and all that. Today, as I speak to you, Nigerians don't even know how they can respond to what the president is saying. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
the president is making all kind of claims, saying, "Oh, we have fixed electricity, we have fixed," but majority of Nigerians are actually suffering more than ever before.
Yeah,
and the indications are very clear.
Even apologized, for
the power minister apologized. Okay, let me give you. Do you know that if you check, you will find that within 1 year, 2024, 2025, President Bola Tinubu has actually spent 34 billion on travel. 34 billion naira on official travel. That's the president, his wife, vice president. 34 billion naira. And that's the same government that released only 36 million naira to the Ministry of Health capital budget. Has it ever happened before that in Nigerian history a government will be implementing 3 budgets at the same time, will be operating 3 budgets at the same time and implementing none? So what we are saying, we hear, and yesterday we made a statement. The president said, the people in government were saying, "Oh, this," we listened to the chief of defense staff. "Oh, these terrorists are, what does he call them? Prodigal sons." He said they are prodigal sons, and we cannot fight them. How can terrorists be prodigal sons that need rehabilitation? The other time the NSA said they are our brothers. They are not our brothers. They are not our brothers. They kill Nigerians and they ought to be treated as enemy. But this government is coddling terrorists. They are doing business with terrorists. They will tell you now, and the last time they kidnapped people in my state, Kwara State, the kidnappers are asking for 1 billion naira. Where did they get the temerity to be asking to be paid for kidnapping Nigerians if government is not doing business with them? So let President Bola Tinubu know things are getting worse under him than ever before. And Nigerians are tired. Nigerians want something to be done differently, and they are not doing it.
All right, I'll just ask you to hold on while we'll go on a short break. And when we come back, I will be listening from you if ADC is, providing a credible alternative to the problems that you've already outlined by this government. And then, of course, if Nigerians will be accepting your party. We'll now be going on a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching This Week, and I'm Somna Sambo, and we're still on the African Democratic Congress and its view of the state of the nation. And I still have with me here the National Publicity Secretary of the ADC, Malam Bolaji Abdullahi. Thank you so much for still being with us. Now, let's talk about the ADC and its manifesto. A whole lot of Nigerians are still trying to understand this party. I was listening to a politician the other day, and he said ADC is a coalition, not a coalition. How do you react to that?
We hear all kind of cynical comments like that, but we are not bothered because we are very clear about what we set out to achieve. And we can say with greater degree of clarity where we stand today on some of key issues that actually matter to Nigerians. It's the work we have done over the last 9 months. When President Bola Tinubu during Eid al-Fitr, he was saying, the battle in Iran, the Middle East, the Strait of Hormuz is going to drive off inflation. And we say, look, Nigerians have been at war since 2023 that he came to power. So we don't need the war in the Middle East to drive up inflation or to drive up poverty. He has declared war on Nigerians. How? It is very clear to us that the problem of subsidy removal is a mistake. The way it was done, it shouldn't have been done. And it is very clear to us that subsidy itself is not the problem. It is the corruption of the subsidy regime that was the problem. The arbitrage associated with it, the smuggling associated with it, and all kind of corrupt practices associated with it. What President Bola Tinubu did in 2023 by removing subsidy the way he did was to punish poor people for the crime being committed by rich people.
But all presidential candidates then, promised to remove
ADC is now saying that removal of subsidy for everyone is as bad as giving subsidy to everyone. We are saying that we will give targeted subsidy to those who need it. We will do a means-tested need, and we will know those who need subsidy. Every country in the world gives subsidies to the poorest among them. Nigerians are too poor to be abandoned to the market forces. What government does when people are this poor is to protect its citizens, not to throw them to market forces. And how do you protect your citizens? You subsidize the things that matter most to them: food, drug, energy. Right? So ADC is saying we will give subsidy to those who need it.
So are you returning back petrol subsidies?
No, we can see when the subsidy has acquired such a negative connotation that we say you are bringing it, say, oh, you are taking us back to the past. No, we are saying that in the first place, removing subsidy for everyone was wrong. What government needed to do is to establish those who need subsidy and find a way to give subsidies to those who need it. Because when a few people are stealing, and you say the only solution is to shut down the kitchen completely, right? Then you are not doing anything. So one of the things that have driven up inflation, that have driven up poverty, the way it has come, is the blanket removal of subsidy without the social safety net that the people needed to cushion the effect.
The federal government said they've been doing social intervention programs.
I mean, and you can see the outcome. So how has it helped? How come we are still home to the largest number of poor people in the world? How? So we are saying that ADC will give subsidy to those who need subsidy. A lot of work will go into that to ensure that it does not come. But the cardinal principle of ADC is very clear, that we are not going to abandon the people to the market forces. We will protect the poorest among us. And we are not going to tax poverty. And if you look at what this government is doing, now if you transfer any money from your bank account, you pay stamp duty on 10,000 naira. I mean, people transferring 10,000 naira just want to get by.
Well, the government says it needs more money. I mean, to be able to operate.
What they need to do,
having challenges with revenue collection.
The fat is too much. I just gave you a number now that the president has spent 34 billion on travel alone within 1 year. That money can be channeled to the people, right? So all these things, the government, there's too much fat in government. If you remove the wastage in government, there's so much you can do. How come we are allocating 36 million to the health sector when majority of people can't even afford to buy drugs? Government is spending 34 billion on travel, and that is just one. So ADC is saying, no, we will protect our people. We will run government that is efficient, that is accountable. So, I mean, we know that, look, Samna, we know that the biggest challenge we face today is that the people no longer believe what politicians say.
Especially their governments.
Yeah, especially their government. I mean, and they can look at us, ADC, and say, oh, but we've had all this before. And we are very clear about that. We know that. Because when APC came, they promised change in 2014, 2015, and Nigerians were hypnotized by
the and you were part of that process.
I was part of that.
Bolaji Abdullahi.
I was part of it.
And when the party had promised certain things to Nigerians, we were surprised that then President Muhammadu Buhari came to say, look, I never made these promises. People made them on my behalf. So this particular issue you're saying, is it the ADC that's promising us, Nigerians, or it is the manifesto of specific individual potential presidential aspirants that you're talking about right away?
Okay. We spent the whole of last night, almost up to this morning, having this conversation that you're talking about. How do we commit to the implementation of these ideas? Because our manifesto rests on 4 cardinal principles. One is security. How do we security and citizen protection? That is the biggest issue today. Number 2 is affordable cost of living. The third one is skills and job creation. And the last one is social justice and the rule of law. These are the 4 key cardinal objectives of the African Democratic Congress, and it's very clear. So we now ask ourselves, how do we commit to its implementation? And we're having conversation because of the experience you just outlined, you just recalled. When we were drawing up the covenant with Nigerians, we believed those things, Sumner. We believed it. We believed Nigeria was on the cusp of change. When we're doing those difficult work, we knew and we prepared everything, including budgeting, including where the money will come from and how we're going to deliver it and how we're going to calibrate it. But the first thing the government did, like you said, they say, oh, it's just some overzealous party members.
Yeah, man.
You know, but in this,
those promises of making the dollar,
even though each time the president wanted to go on campaign, at that time they were coming to us and collecting those documents and using them as campaign material, and President Buhari actually personally signed it off. You know, but it was easy to repudiate it as the work of some overzealous
and that's
people.
why many Nigerians are being careful this time around,
this case,
so that they won't be sold lies.
In this case, you knew the national chairman of the party, David Mark, inaugurated the policy and manifesto committee. And one of the key things he said ADC will not leave to the discretion of anybody elected on our platform to decide what to do with power. We are very clear about that.
Yeah, and I was surprised, sorry to interject, when I saw that the party is supreme written on one of the banners during your neck meeting. And I was like, well, I think we're heading back to the days of Second Republic.
Absolutely, because
the party was supreme.
Don't forget, many of us came from somewhere. So the experience of where we're coming from, look at the PDP. It has been hollowed out completely. That's one of the greatest parties Nigeria ever had. But it's been hollowed out and it's no longer, So we are saying that something drove us here. And for us to begin to rebuild the Nigerian political system, for the people to begin to believe again that something good can come out of politics, we have to build a real political party that is ready to deliver something to the people.
So will the president be the national leader of the party under your new arrangement?
The president cannot.
Because that's always been the problem.
The president cannot be. You see, it's an aberration. It's a recent aberration. The president cannot be in ADC. Ask any ADC member today, who is the leader of this party? They can't answer that question.
Well,
because
some will say Atiku.
No. If they don't know, Atiku is not. Anybody that says that doesn't know ADC.
Okay.
There's at the national level, at the state level, you cannot point at any state today and say, oh, Sumner is the leader of this party in this state.
Even if you are the financier.
No, and that's the interesting thing. You don't have a financier of the party. You have people pulling resources together. And that's why we don't have leader in any state. We have leadership. It is deliberately designed to be so. And if you look at the ADC is the only party whose constitution actually says that it's an egalitarian party and it will not be hijacked by any money bag, right? So all this, it is being clearly put together. And we are hoping that Nigerians will give us opportunity to show that politics can actually be different. We know the level of cynicism is high, but we'll continue to work every day to earn the trust of Nigerians. Because
that's if they believe that the ADC itself will be on the voting ballot. Because a whole lot of people are saying that you also have cases in court. The former executive, Nafiu Balagombe, going to a court, and just when they thought that all those issues had been cleared off, and we just saw these court cases coming up here and there. It's
the same dark forces that destroyed the PDP that are doing all this. They're the ones instigating it. We know. When you see people who could barely afford to service their own cars, hiring senior advocates of Nigeria to do cases for them, then you know somebody is doing this somewhere. And we know them.
Okay.
So we don't have any cases that, the case is in court, so I don't want to be, but in reality, ADC is solid. We are on a strong legal footing. We don't have any problem. If you hear anything, it's what the ruling party, and that's why President Bola Tinubu was saying, he's just saying it for the audience that were listening to him. They actually don't do it. They are doing something else. They say something, but they do something else. They are the one, he may not be aware, fair enough. He may not be aware, but there are operatives within his government who feel that they have a duty to him to destabilize opposition parties. And we know that.
All right, just before going on a short break, do you think that the APC takes you as a formidable threat? From President Tinubu's speech, he just felt like, the ADC is just one of those distractions.
They may say that. When PDP was in power, they said they were going to rule for 60 years. So this arrogance is very familiar. We've walked through this before.
With 31 governors?
It doesn't matter. Why are they still running all over the place? Why are they still trying to use these court cases? So if they are that confident, the governors have moved to APC. Have the people moved to APC? The people who buy petrol at 1,340 naira, have they moved to APC? The people who cannot afford to feed their own families, have they moved to APC? You know, so the governors can move. It doesn't mean anything. But we are happy, let them continue to underestimate ADC and say, oh, it's a coalition of it has collapsed, it is dead on arrival. We are not bothered. We continue to do the work that we need to do because
we owe it to Nigeria.
And when
you hear that statement that it's a coalition that's heading for collision.
It's okay. we don't indulge in that. And that's why we said if they want to debate all these issues, security, economy, we are ready for them. Let us debate these issues that matter to Nigerians. All these cynical remarks, all this, it doesn't bother us. We don't have time.
Well, you have to be prepared for it, and I'll ask you to just hold on while we go on a short break. And when we come back this time around, we'll be taking a look at the preparation for the convention that is ahead. I mean, other political parties have done this, and we at Arise News here are celebrating Nigeria's 27 years of democratic rule, and all the political parties doing their conventions, congresses, and all of that. We will be talking about all of that when we return from the break. Stay with us. Welcome back from the break. You're still watching This Week, and I'm Somna Sambo. Still on the African Democratic Congress, the ADC, the party says it is yet to decide on the zoning of its presidential ticket amid calls for the party to zone its ticket to the south like other political parties. According to the party spokesman, Bolaji Abdullahi, the ADC will make that decision, quote, at the right time. The ADC's remark comes less than a year to the next presidential election. Meanwhile, the Labour Party on Tuesday zoned its ticket to the southern region of Nigeria, while the governing All Progressives Congress has adopted President Bola Tinubu from the south as its consensus candidate. The People's Democratic Party has also zoned its presidential ticket to the south. Now, critics have claimed that the ADC is, quote, a vehicle for former Vice President Atiku Abubakar from the northeast of the country to achieve his presidential ambition, a position the ADC spokesman strongly denied, stating that the party remains open to all and does not have a preferential candidate for the 2027 polls. Well, I'm so glad to have with me here in the studio the ADC National Publicity Secretary, Malam Bolaji Abdullahi. He's a former Minister of Youth, Development and Sports under former President Goodluck Jonathan. He was also the National Publicity Secretary of the Governing of Progressives Congress between 2016 and 2018, and is the author of On a Platter of Gold, How Jonathan Won and Lost Nigeria. And drawing on his experiences as a journalist, governor's aide, commissioner, and minister, Mr. Abdullahi recently launched another book, The Loyalist, in January 2026. So good to have you.
Thank you very much.
Still be here with us. Yeah. All right, talk to us about this issue that's ongoing. I mean, Nigerians really want certainty. Why is the ADC taking its time to actually let Nigerians know the direction it's heading to? Other political parties, the key contenders, I mean, like you would have seen, Arise News is excited that this is, a democratic festival of ideas, but the ADC is just left behind by other political parties on where its presidential ticket will go to in 2027.
It's a decision that we will make at the appropriate time. A day in politics is very, very long.
And you don't think it's too late?
No, it's never too late. I mean, it's never too late. Not the only few doors are completely shut before. In politics, I mean, we still have time. I mean, we understand the dynamics and where. You see, because this is a coalition. And it's very important to us to hold everything together. It is very important to us that in every decision you take, there will be winners and there will be losers. You cannot take those decisions without being very clear about how you are going to keep potential losers within the fold and how you are going to get them to work together. Because at the end of the day, what we want is for everybody to be able to work together. So you can't just, it's not a decision you take lightly or cavalierly. I mean, for APC, it's very straightforward. I mean, President Bola Tinubu, the incumbent, so they don't have a problem. ADC, I don't know which, PDP, I don't know which PDP you are talking about, whether it's the other PDP or this other PDP. Labour Party, I don't know which Labour Party. So for us, it's a huge responsibility because we want to give Nigerians the alternative that they deserve. And it is very important to us we keep everything together. We are mindful of what Nigerians are saying.
But hasn't this been the agreement between politicians since 1999? The power rotates north for 8 years and rotates south for 8 years.
No, I mean, it's actually not an agreement among politicians. It was a PDP convention, don't forget. And as I said recently, and I remembered very clearly in 2015 or so, some of the leaders of APC at the time, when we're talking about zoning the Senate president position, when Dr. Saraki wanted to be Senate president, we're talking about zoning the Senate president position to the North Central. Some of the leading lights of APC at the time said, no, the zoning is a PDP thing. Don't bring it to, we are a progressive party. Don't bring the issue of zoning here. So when does it become politicians' agreement? It's just a PDP thing.
Well, do you have a zoning policy in ADC?
But we are in the business of convincing Nigerians that we listen to them. That's our duty. We want to win election, which is a matter of strategy. But we also want to have Nigerians with us.
Does that strategy include zoning?
Absolutely. We are listening to everything that Nigerians are saying, right? We will talk about zoning, and we will take our decision on zoning, and we will take our decision on where our presidential candidate will come from. It's just a matter of weeks, not even months.
Yeah,
it's only a matter of weeks. We're happy that Nigerians are anxious to know the direction we are going. But like I said recently, we are cool. We know what we need to do.
And how do you react to that allegation that the ADC is being coupled up as a vehicle for Atiku Abubakar?
Nothing can be further from the truth.
But you are actually using his building, former campaign headquarters of Atiku Abubakar. I mean, everything seems to be cozy around him. And there are those fears, actually, by some people that this may actually be where the implosion will start from. When your primary is conducted,
is a prophecy
and
of
Atiku
doom.
grabs that ticket,
is a prophecy of doom.
And others run away.
It's a prophecy of doom.
And you don't think you should take it seriously?
It's a prophecy of doom. Look, we are saying that the party hierarchy will take this decision. And sometimes, please, let us show respect to the likes of Peter Obi, to the likes of Rotimi Amechi, to the likes of Emeka Nwajuba, to the other people from the Southeast, from the South, who have embraced our party. And you are saying that all these people, including Chief Oyego and all of them,
well, maybe because Atiku is very skillful at winning presidential primaries.
Okay, but you see, the point is, there is nothing that says Alhaji Atiku Abubakar cannot contest for president. There is nothing that says Peter Obi. It is the party hierarchy that will have to take a calculated decision on the direction that the party will go. And you keep bringing up this issue of us using Atiku's office. If you know the process that went into even using that office, we have other offices. This ruling party, the APC, they say all kinds of things. We get offices, then they will agree with the owner of the building to pay on Monday. By the time we get there, the owner will say, no, we don't want again, because the government will have reached out to them and say, don't give those people accommodation. So at the end of the day, it was a last-ditch effort. They'll say, okay, look, once we are able to give comfort to everybody else involved, and they say, no, they don't mind because we're running, so no problem. And that building was on a lease, and all we had to do was to renew the lease. It was a personal property of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar.
Okay, that's interesting. And that should be comforting to others. But let's talk about this digital register of party members. When are you going to eventually ensure that this process is concluded in such a way that people are not left out? And then also, if they do lose out of the primaries, they don't run away based on the way the new Electoral Act tries to actually put it together. What are the measures you're putting to ensure that this is a clean register that contains everyone, their supporters, and all of that, and eventually it's a record that can stand the test of time?
Well, I mean, INEC issued a release yesterday, modifying and extending the deadline, which is good. We've submitted the ones we had to be able to meet the deadline for our congresses and for our congresses. So we are okay with that. But now it's good that they have given this extension, so we'll continue to ramp them. As that yesterday, when I checked, we are registered about 2.6 million or so.
Okay.
So which is good. So we don't have, and it's going to happen next week. Wait for it. I'm not going to tell you, but it's going to happen next week. You will see. It's going to happen.
All right. I mean, interesting times ahead.
Yes.
But let's talk about how you keep selling the ADC to Nigerians as this beautiful bride and all of that. Just today, I mean, I received a report that Blessing Ono, the daughter of David Mark, has actually, been appointed as one of the coordinators for the APC in Benue State. A former member of the House of Representatives. And not quite long ago, Atiku's son was actually, embraced wholeheartedly into the APC. So if the sons and daughters of these leaders of your party are not embracing the ADC, why should any Nigerian be interested in joining the ADC?
But the sons and daughters of other people are embracing ADC as well. Well, it doesn't matter.
Maybe not really prominent ones.
It doesn't matter. I mean, the prominence doesn't matter. So what matters is that these children have the right to decide what they want to do. Right, to decide what parties they want to follow.
And you don't think that's damaging the reputation of the party? If the national chairman of the ADC will have, his daughter joining the APC to promote President Tinubu.
If David Mark had told his daughter, if you join this ADC, I will disown you, what would you have said? You say, oh, he's not tolerant. He's undemocratic. Why is he forcing his daughter? She's an adult. She has the right to choose. Now he allowed her to go and say, oh, he discredits you. Come on. When a child is 18, a child has the right to decide what he wants to do. But you can look at
Sheyi Tinubu, how he's still in the APC, helping his dad and all of that. Shouldn't your leaders be speaking to their children?
If Sheyi Tinubu's father was in the opposition, do you think he'll be doing what he's doing? I mean, who will leave his father that is a president to say, look, you don't have to go into that.
All right.
You are comparing.
Interesting perspective ahead. But let's talk about these issues of consensus. Is the ADC thinking of, using consensus as a method for electing its presidential candidate?
Absolutely. I mean, we are left with two options, direct primaries and consensus. And for us, we are trying as much as possible to adopt consensus approach because that is the least costly for us. Given the delegates, that's the indirect primaries, is no longer on the table. So we are left with those two options, consensus and indirect primaries. And for us, the best case scenario is to be able to engineer consensus. And that's what we are working on.
And a whole lot of Nigerians will say that during the Electoral Act, the opposition political parties were just too docile. They allowed the APC to have its way, putting all of these things, translating some things within the APC constitution almost wholeheartedly into, the electoral law. What exactly was ADC doing while all of these things were ongoing? The amendment is ongoing again. We are not hearing so much from the ADC, other political parties until the National Assembly is done. Then you start going around.
Yeah, I must admit that we are probably blindsided by some of the things that happened. I must admit that. But for us in ADC, we're learning to crawl, walk, jump and fly at the same time. I mean, we're just like 7 months old as a coalition. So we're doing so many things at the same time. So it's possible that's why we're blindsided by that. And the headline issue in the 2026 Electoral Act was the issue of direct transmission of real-time transmission. I mean, so we're focused on that. And we missed some even more insidious provisions of the Electoral Act. And some of the things we will have challenged, which we are doing by hindsight now, at least for whatever it is worth, is prescribing the manner of the process which political parties should carry out select their candidate. That is a prerogative constitutionally. That is a prerogative of the political parties. It's a constitutional issue. So but this APC government
has said it's going to court. Yeah, I'm wondering if the ADC as a party would want to approach.
No, absolutely. We've said it. We've said it that we're challenging it, not only as ADC, but even as IPAC, that is the opposition political parties, we're going to challenge it. And for whatever it is worth, because it is not inconsistent with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That is one. Two, we were astonished that the APC government, the president said, well, we're misrepresenting the Electoral Act. We're not misrepresenting the Electoral Act. We have studied the Electoral Act. I mean, some of these things are difficult to believe, that a day will come that a Nigerian National Assembly will make a law that says certificate forgery will no longer be a basis to challenge electoral outcome. I mean, APC is reducing Nigeria to its moral level. And we must all be embarrassed as Nigerians. What are we telling the world? What are we telling our children? But their defense, they will say, no. What they are saying is that it's a pre-election matter. So if someone forges a certificate, you should challenge it at the primaries level before he goes into the general election, before the election. But once he wins the election, then you can no longer challenge it. So what they are telling us is that when if you don't catch an armed robber at the scene of crime, then you can no longer challenge the loot. So this is so I agree with you. These are some of the provisions of the Electoral Act that we probably missed as opposition. But again, I must say this: the work of strengthening democracy is never left to politicians alone. Historically, in this country, the media has a role to play. The civil society has a role to play. The unions have a role to play, whether it's student union, academic unions, and all that. But if we leave this to politicians alone, politicians can only do so much.
But that's if it's a bad government. What if it's a good government?
Unless
you have to mobilize and galvanize all these people. There has to be a national consensus that the government is bad.
Sometimes, you see, it's not necessarily so. During Abacha, we didn't see some people saying they are honestly yearning for Abacha.
Yeah,
so were they not Nigerians? But the fundamentals are very clear. We watched this government destroy the opposition rank, deplete the opposition rank, and we are saying, there's no consensus on that. This government went to the UK, and we pointed it out. They went to the UK. They took £736 million loan. That says at least 324 of it must be used in buying British products and services. 70 million pounds must be used in buying British steel. And we have steel companies in Nigeria suffering. And they are not telling us how Nigerians are going to, and we will still pay them back. They signed an agreement that says Nigerians who commit crime in the UK should be repatriated to Nigeria. And nobody is saying anything. The only opposition, that there's no consensus on that people can commit crime in the UK, then be brought to Nigeria. Which prison do you want to put them? The same prison that we say are congested, the same prison that we say prisoners are suffering, they are not properly fed, or are you going to build special prison for the people you are bringing? By the way, they say you won't use passport, you use what they call travel letters.
Yeah.
So when you use travel letters, what it means that you have even no way of verifying that these are Nigerians. And I'm glad that people like Femi Falana are saying that it's not even implementable. But this is what this government is doing. So the opposition is speaking, we are saying, no, you can't do this. So other people too need to. So it's not about consensus.
All right, Mr. Bolaji, as we try to wrap up this conversation very quickly, you mentioned something, I think a week ago, when you said that a bad civilian government is more difficult to remove than a bad military government.
Yes.
And some people almost misread what you were trying to say.
Yeah.
What exactly?
What I was saying is very clear. It's very clear. A military government is an illegitimate government, constitutionally. The Constitution of Nigeria is very clear on how you can take over power in Nigeria. It's through election. So when you have a military government in place, anything you do to remove that government is legitimate. Anything you do to remove an illegitimate government, the military rule, is legitimate under the law, right? Or under the Constitution, or probably suspend the Constitution. Yeah, I understand that. But when you have a civilian government that is bad, there is only one way you can remove that civilian government, and that is through election. But when that bad government has also hijacked the entire process of election, has made it impossible for opposition to survive, has hijacked the judiciary, has hijacked the National Assembly, has hijacked the INEC and removed the I in INEC, right? Then it becomes extremely difficult. And that is exactly the point. So when you have a civilian government that is bad, and we are convinced this government is bad, and they have created the kind of situation that they have created, that almost, like you said, they have 32 governors, they have this, they have 31 governors, and so then it becomes a lot more difficult. But Nigerians, like we say, they can have all the governors. We will continue to talk to the Nigerian people because we are on the side of the people.
Are you afraid that we are heading towards an autocracy?
Totalitarianism, more of totalitarianism. Because look, the Constitution of Nigeria is deliberately designed to provide buffers against arbitrary use of power. The principles of checks and balances is to ensure that when executive exceeds its boundary, then the National Assembly will be there as representatives of the people to say you can't do this. When both fail, then you have the judiciary to interpret the law to say, no, both of you can't do. That's the principle of separation of powers. But when you remove the delicate tension, the delicate tension that necessarily exists or that should necessarily exist between these three arms of government in such a way that all of them are now in one room singing on your mandate we shall stand, then you have a problem.
Mr. Bolaji, if you were the governing party and you had all these governors rushing to you, the National Assembly is all yours. I mean, I don't think you will be describing it in this terms, right?
It is wrong. It is wrong. We shouldn't be doing it. We have to. That's why we have to give people something to believe in, other than power, and that's what ADC is doing.
All right, quickly. I know you're from Kwara State. Just before I let you go, there's been this renewed agitation for power to return to Kwara North because since Shaba Lafiaji, we've not had anyone from Kwara North. I mean, what's the elite consensus like within Kwara politics at the moment?
Well, I mean, it's not as strong as is at the national level, but I think I agree with you that equity demands that every part of the states have equal opportunity for representation and for contesting. Of course, I know that there are other dynamics about strategy to win election and all that, but I think that we must agree on the principle that, and we have to make deliberate efforts to ensure that no part of the state or no part of the country is marginalized.
Well, I mean, is it because it doesn't have enough voting bloc, so the Kwara Central, Kwara South keep dominating because of their voting population?
But we have to get to a point where we have to agree that we cannot continue to do that. It has to get to a point where we have to agree that it is important that every part of the state is given a sense of belonging.
And I've been speaking with some people very quickly. They said that ADC is not on ground in Kwara State. I mean, what's been happening? Because even people in PDP have refused to join your ADC. I mean, I'm wondering what is causing all of that?
ADC is, I mean, go to Kwara. I don't know if you've been to Kwara yourself. I mean, Kwara, we don't have. Kwara is one of the states where ADC is actually very strong, and we have a chance, right, in the next election. Because PDP has become a very risky platform, given the situation they have found themselves. But we know what ties them together, in spite of the situation they found themselves, right? And APC, of course. But there are so many people within the APC that have joined ADC in the last couple of weeks because they are not happy with the way situations are. So ADC is fine. We're fine.
Your gates are still open.
Our gates are still
as you try to close your register, because anyone whose name is not there will not participate in the election.
Our gates are
vote
open.
Or be voted for.
Our gates are open.
We must thank you so much. I've been having a beautiful conversation right here with Malam Bolaji Abdullahi, a former Minister of Youth Development and Sports under former President Goodluck Jonathan. Of course, he has also been a former National Publicity Secretary of the APC, but now your forte is in the ADC, and I just hope your supporters won't say if there's trouble in ADC tomorrow, you will also leave to somewhere else.
I didn't leave those parties because they were trouble. I left for reasons.
Your timestamp,
and that's why you should read. That's why you should read the Loyalist. I will give you a copy.
Okay, I mean,
then you will know why I didn't leave those parties.
I mean, you're always loyal to a fault. I mean, I read the preview. All right, we must thank you so much, and I just hope you still have some good relations with your former boss.
Absolutely, there's no problem.
All right, that's the much we can take on this edition of This Week. Thanks to our production team here in Abuja, Lagos, and London. Do join us same time next week for another exciting edition. I'm Sam Massawi.